Okay, today we will see some mechanical joining process. That's the basic mechanical joining process are known as welding process. We will see some types of weldings and it is advantage also the ways of joining process. Welded joint and their advantages. This process or the mechanism of joining process used for the main purpose or the advantages of this process or this techniques we will see in detail. Welding is a very common used permanent joining process. There are two types of joining process. Those joining types are permanent and temporary. Permanent means it is constant, used for a long period of times without breaking. Without breaking. Temporary means for a time being. For a time being. So welding mechanism is the process of joining mechanism for a permanent. Welded joint and their advantages. A welded joint is a point or edge where two or more pieces of metals or plastics are joined together. In this case, the base metals or plastic materials, what we are used as workpiece or what we are used for joining are known as metal, maybe plastic materials. In this case, both of them are used are basic metals or basic plastic materials used for joining two parts or more parts. Those parts are maybe plastic or metal. They are formed by welded two or more workpiece metals or plastics according to particular geometry, which means that as we went, five types of joints referred to by American Welded Society according to AWS. According to AWS, welding's mechanisms or welding types are classified into five main joints. The joints like butt joint, corner joint, edge joint, lap, and T joints. Those five types of joints are based on their shape or ways. A welded joint has the following advantages. The main advantages of welding mechanisms are like compared to other types of joints, the welded joint has higher efficient. The welded joints are higher efficient than other joining mechanisms. And efficiency greater than 95% is easily possible, which means that welding mechanisms have high efficiency than other other mechanism of joining materials in mechanical works. Since the added material is minimum, which means added materials are known as filler materials that are used for joining two parts. So the minimum materials are added added. So the joint has lighter weight, which means that when we are joining two mechanisms, the weights of the materials are not increased, which means that small amounts of joining materials are added for joining two base metals or base plastic materials. The third one is welded joints have smooth appearances. The surface after we are finishing the joining process, the surface of two base metals are smooth. That also the advantages of welded joints. Due to flexibility in the welded procedures, alterations and additions are possible, which means that it's flexible work. Or the fee is it is less expensive. It's not cost. Forming a joint in difficult location is possible through welding at any place we can joining to base metals even if underground or underwaters. Also, we can joining the failure parties. These are the reasons welding process are the basic what we are using in at any locations. So those listed points are the main advantages of welding joining process. Welding joining process. This also the advantages have made well suitable for joining components in various machines and structures at any machines. The structure of the machines also we can joining. Some typical welded machines components are listed below. Those the main components of the machines what we are welded are like pressure vessels, steel structures, flange welded tube shafts, flange with a shaft, and axle also we can use we can joining by welding. Crankshaft, heavy hydraulic turbine shafts, large gear, pulleys and flywheels, gear hoisting machine, frames and base. The frame of the machines and the base machines are joined by welding. Hose and mill stands also basic types of welded process. In welding process, we can use different mechanisms or the ways of welding process are also classified into many ways. From them, basic types of welded process. From that, number one, liquid states or vision welding. As you see from its name, liquid state means the base metals are joined at the states of liquid states, which means that the base metals and the filler materials should be melted in this process, where heat is added to the base metals until they melt. In addition, supply added metals or filler materials also converted into liquid states or melted. Upon cooling, strong joint formed depend upon the methods of heat addition. This process further subdivided, namely depend on heat additions. These liquid state or vision welding process are classified into four main categories. Those are electrical heating. Under electrical heating, arc welding, resistance welding, and induction welding are categorized. The second one is chemical welding. Under chemical welding, we use chemical materials like gas and thermite weldings are the main two basic types of chemical welding is laser welding and electro beam weldings are also the types of vision welding or liquid states welding. In here, the main points are the two base metals or more base metals and filler material should be at liquid states, not at solid states. The states of joining mechanism in here is at liquid phase. Liquid phase. The second one is solid state welding. The first one is liquid state. This one is solid state. At solid state, we can joining two base metals or base plastic materials. Here, mechanical force is applied. On the first one, the heat is applied. In here, we apply the mechanical force until material deformed to plastic states. The states of the base metals in here is a workpiece is at plastic states, not at liquid states. The bonds are then formed through molecular interactions. After the loads or force applied on the two or the more materials, some deformation takes place due to the applied force. In that case, the bonds joining mechanism in here is bond in a bond due to the molecular interactions of the atom what are available and base metals, or we can use some in small amount filler material. So it's that welding may be of various kinds, namely like cold welding at cold low temperature, diffusion welding, and hot forging. At hot forging, we can also use those three types are categorized under solid states welding process. So the welding process is done at liquid state and solid states type basic types of welding process. What are the strengths of the welded joint? Adequate care must be taken to enhance or increase the strength of welded joints. Welded joint, welded joint. The strength of the welded joint is it is seen that strength of welded joint is affected mainly by the following factors like crack initiation, residual stresses, metallurgical transformations, defect, and stress concentration. So we will see one by one. Crack initiation. It is possible that the crack formed while the melted metal. When the melted or at liquid state welding process done, the killing process is then after we are welding. It's then at that point maybe the crack is initiation. Crack initiation is formed. Due to that reason, the strength of the weld is minimized or reduced. The second one is residual stress. This stress is formed in the internal structures of the base metals. The base metals with filler materials. Due to the internal energy, these stress are developed. So these stress are the cause of failure. In due to inhomogeneous heating of the base metals, residual stress may be exist upon cooling. Metallurgical transformation means the structures of the base metals are changed due to around the heat affected zone or around the hearts. When heat is applied on the structure of the face metal, the structures or the internal structures of the metals should be changed. It is changed. Due to that reason, metallurgical transformation process also done when we are joining those metals in heat affected zone or has the metallurgical properties may change it, leading to weakness of the joints. The phase changes process is done in here. Defect, maybe defect is formed due to, based on the experience of the workers also, or with the conditions also. Due to those reasons, the defect is formed of various kinds like incomplete penetrations, porosity, sludge inclusions, which affect the strength of welded joints. Strength of welded joints. The fifth one is stress concentrations. Aura change in geometry after welding may introduce stress concentration in structures. Those main points are the mechanisms or the ways that gives effect on the strength of the welding strength of those are minimizing or reducing the strength of the welding process. So we can controlling those process those defects or those causes of failures in welding. Types of welded joints. Types of welded joints like lap or fillet joints obtained by overlapping the plates or the base and welded their edges. The edge after the plates are overlapped, we welded around the edges of those plates. We call as lap or fillet joint. The fillet joint may be single transverse fillets or double transverse fillet or parallel fillet joints. See figure 10 Sirboota. Those mechanism of joining process are fillet joint or lap joint. So this one is other base metal. This one is base metal. We weld in here. This one also other base metal and the second base metal. So we are joining in the edges of this one. The edges are welded. So due to those the edge welding, these types of joints are lap joint. Lap joint. This also lap joint mechanism. Double lap joint due to in here also under we will under part of this one. This shows that the side, the inner side are welded. This and the second due to double transverse lap joint, double transverse. This one also double in here or in here. The first one is single way. This one is double way. So this point shows that internally these faces are welded. Double transverse lap joint type. What we call those types of weld joint. Second one is the first one is lap. Second one is butt joints formed by placing the plate edge to edge, and welded them. The edge of two base metal or plastics are welded, not overlap. Gravures are geometric, sometimes cuts or for thick plate on the edge before welded. According to the shape of gravies, the butt joint may be of different type. Examples of butt joint is square butt joint, single V butt joint, double V butt joint, single U butt joint, W butt joint, single J butt joint, double J butt joint, single bevel butt joint, and double bevel butt joint. Those are types of or the ways of what we are used in butt joint shapes. We can use those all as UN, but those are based on the application, specific applications of the welded materials. So we will see one by one. This one is these are schematically shown in figure 10.3.2 square butt joints. The edges of these and these are directly jointed. This shows that welded metal. This one is single V. The shape of the welded type is single V. This one is the shape of butt. It is a type of butt joint. Devil V butt joint. Devil V butt joint. Types of welded joints. There are other types of welded joints. For example, corner joint, edge or seal joint, T joint. You will see. This one is corner. The corner of two base metals are welded. This one is edge joint. The edge of this base metals is welded. First, second base metal welding face. This one is T joint. The shape of product is T shape, but the welding mechanism is in T joint into each this and this. Other types of welded joints, this figure, but joint geometries are there are many types of butts welded, but all fall within one of these categories. As we see, single welded butt joint means when the two face edges of the materials are connected. Double welded joint butt joint is maybe V, U, or G. Open and closed butt joints. Butt joint, a single welded butt joint is the name for a joint that has only been welded from one side. A double welded butt joint is created when the weld has been welded for both sides. With double welded, the depth of each weld can vary slightly. The depth of each weld is vary not uniformly. See these ones. Single bevel. Single bevel. This one is not bevel. The second base metal is beveled. Due to that reasons we call single beveled. Single beveled. Single V. The formal shape is V. It is single. The formal shape is J. It is single J. This one is double beveled. In here and in here it is beveled. So double V. The shape what we are seeing based on the shape. All of them are types of butt joint process. This one is double J. This one is single U. This shape is W. Mechanism of butt joint. See, double bevel means in 3D model, like here, double V. This one is double J, W. When you are see on the 3D models or as a workpiece, those shapes are formed. When we are using those mechanisms or butt joint mechanisms, butt joint, welded butt joints. This one is a butt joint V single V, fillet welded butt joint in a form of a fillet, compound welded butt joints. Compound means like this one, make a compound. T-joint means the shape of the product is T. In these areas, we will type in the form of field, in the form of butt joint, in the form of compound. Lap joint means, as you now see in the plates are the face of the plates are overlapped. This and this one overlapped, then joining in a single way. Maybe in each side, maybe in double form. Closed corner joints. A fillet welded closed corner joints, like in this one, but welded closed, but it is a but end closed. You can see those pictures. Open corner means the corner of this one is open. On the closed, the corners are closed. See this, the main difference. This one is closed, not open. And you can see it's open in here. It's open. Due to this, we call open corner joint, not closed. This one is also open after welding. This one is after welding. Butt joint geometry. A closed weld is a type of joint in which the two pieces that will be joined are touching during the welded process. An open welded is the joint type where the two pieces have small gap in between them during the welding process. Welded closed corner joint, welded open corner joint. When it is closed, when it's open. The shape of from those 3D diagrams, you can easily identify the main difference between open and closed corner joints. Square butt joint. Square groove is a butt welding. This square also types of butt welding joint with the two pieces being flat and parallel to each other. Flat and they must be parallel to each other. In that case, we call the square groove. This joint is simple to prepare, economical to use, and provided satisfactory strength, but it is limited by joining thickness based on the thickness of the materials. Square butt joints. The closed square butt weld is a type of square groove joint with no spacing in between the pieces or the work pieces or the base. This joint type is commonly with gas and arc welding. As I told before, gas is types of chemical. This one is types of electrical. Vision welding, both of them. So it's square. This one is also square. Close. This one is open. This one is closed. Square butt joint. For thicker joint, the edges of each members of butt joint must be prepared to particular geometry to provide accessibilities for welding and thus ensure the desired weld soundness and strength. Square butt joint. The open and the gap are the root of joint and the closed angle of groove should be selected to record the least welded metal easily to read needed assess metal strengths and requirements. V joints single butts welded are as you see from those single means in one way, double means in a two way. From those diagram you can easily understand V joint. The shape of the joints are V in thick metal, and when welding can be performed from both sides of workpiece of double V joint is used. V joint when welding thicker metal. Double V joint require less filler material because there are two narrower V joint compared to a wider single V joint. As you see from these definitions, when we use two V joint or double V joint, we use small amounts of filler materials because formed gaps are very small. Also, the double V joint helps compensate for working force, spring force. With a single V joint, stress tends to rub the pieces on one direction when the V joint is filled, but within the double V joint there are welds on both sides of materials having opposing stresses, being opposing stresses, strengthening the materials. J joint may be double or single. Single J butt joints are when one piece of wheel is in the shapes of J that easy accept filler materials and other pieces is required. Those are types of J joints. It is maybe close, double or single J joints as you went based on their applications and the thickness of the material what we are joining. J joints. A J groove is formed either with special cutting machinery or by grinding the joint edge. J joint through a J is more difficult and costly to prepare than a V groove. A single J groove on metal between half an inch or three quarters of the thickness. J joint, double J joints, as you see, single and double. The half, the type, those are the types of the but joint welded. U joint also similar with the others are welded that have both edges of weld surface shaped like a J. But once they come together, they form U. When they are on when formed on both sides, they form U. On single, it is J. When formed on the both, this U shaped are formed single U shaped. Maybe we make double U shape. This one is double U shape or for J joint. U joints are the most expensive to prepare and to get expensive from those. The types or shapes of joining U is difficult. They are usually used on thick base metals where a V groove will be at such an extreme angle that is why it costs too much to fill for fulfilling this gap or these angles. It take much amounts of filler materials. Then it is cost more cost. Other in thin sheet metals are often flanged to produce edge flange or corner flange weld. These welds are typically made without the additions of filler metal because the flange metals and provide all the filler needed. Pipes and tubes can be made from rolling and welding together strips, sheet and other plates of materials. Flare groove joints are used for welding metals that because of their shape form a convenient groove for welding such as pipe against. These are ways of connecting pipes and tube also. T-joint. This weld is made from braces. Others also as you select. Selections of right weld joint depend on the thickness and the process used. We should be select types of welding joints based on thickness of the materials and the process what you used. The square weld are the most economic for piece thinner than 3/8 because they do not require the edges to be prepared. Double groove welds are most economic for thicker pieces because they require less welded materials and time. Others, the use of vision welding is common for vision means liquid states. Welding for closed single bevel, closed single J, open single J, and closed double J butt joints. The use of gas or chemical and arc welding in electrical this one is ideal not practical. Double bevel, closed double bevel, open double bevel, single bevel, and open single bevel butts weld. Below are listed ideally joint thicknesses for the various types of butt welding joints. When the thickness of the butt weld is defined, it is measured at a thinner part than workpiece thickness is limited per joint thickness. This one is standard. You can read easily this thickness. Types of joints. Square joint, if it is square joint up to 1 over 4 inch, which means that 6.35 millimeters. The thickness of the material should be up to this one, not more than this one. If it is square joint. Single bevel joint, if it is single bevel joint, the thickness of the material should be 4.76 to 9.53 in millimeter in inch in here. So the type joints are deeply based on the thickness of the materials. Thickness of the materials. As this one is each type of joint has its own symbols of welding process. The basic weld symbols are shown below. The basic welding types and their symbols. In number types of welding symbols. Fillet joints like a triangular wheel. This fillet symbol. Square butt joint, square and the butt parallel and stop also one is each are connected. Single V butt joint. You see this V and the butt is on given in a form of curves. When it is double V, you can see double V in here. And at two side, you can see the curve. So this one is double V joint, single U joint, and this one is angle beveled. This one is inclined, not formally different from this one. This is bevel, what we call. The others also mention surface finish. After welding is done, the surface is properly finished for making the surface of the joint material shining. This process is known as surface finishing process. The counters of the welded joint may be flush, concave or convex, and surface finish may be grinding machine, machining finish, or chipping remove. Chip removing hammers by using the hammers, maybe by grinders, maybe by other machining. We should be make shining surface of the product. The symbols of the counter and the surface finish as shown. So this one also based on the symbols. A particular symbol, weld symbol, flash counter, concave counter, convex counter, and concave counter. They are opposite. Grinding finish means G means show grinding. M show machining. Chipping finish means C. So those symbols are right on the specifications of the welding process, which means after you are doing the welding process, you should be right standard forms of the welding. In that case, welding type, what you are used in that welding uh, machines, and at the end, when you are finishing, you are put the mechanisms of surface finishing process. So everything is are like here. If you have questions, tips, write on the comment sections. Thank you for your attentions. Please share for your friends and subscribe my channel for other videos. Thank you for today. Thank you everyone. Thank you.